We got to our first hotel a day early.
And the gardens at the hotel were designed to attract many birds. In the middle of a very thick bamboo grove, there were a couple of mottled owls.
The crested caracara was being dive-bombed by some yellow-headed caracaras.
The Baltimore orioles and the other migrating birds that we saw were the first among many during our trip.
We woke up one morning to see this big guy sunning in a tree off of our patio.
That's the iguana, not the squirrel.
We saw many very large wasp nests.
These leafcutter ants were really amazing to watch. They forged their own paths through the forest, clearing things and getting stuff out of their way and lifting more than their weight.
I purchased a new camera for this trip and every now and then struggled with getting the focal point to work.
This is our second hotel, and the sound you're hearing are cicadas. Millions and millions of cicadas. It's almost deafening. Never heard anything quite like it. We took a boat ride through rivers around the mangroves and saw many, many birds that we had seen before, in different habitats, of course, but also many birds that we had never seen before. So it was really quite a treat to be up close to them. This crocodile was certainly one of the highlights, along with many other birds like the osprey, and Margot managed to spot an Amazon kingfisher, and also she was the first one to see this roseate spoonbill. So she got accolades for that.
This beautiful bird has turquoise, blue, black, yellow, and it's identified by its red legs. Quite a few of the birds that we quote-unquote saw, we didn't actually see very well. This was one of them.
Sometimes we were so busy birding that we failed to see the beauty that was all around us. This really is a very beautiful country.
This particular location was loaded with a huge variety of hummingbirds. We saw them in the wild, We saw them on nectar feeders, and we saw them in the rain. It was a wonderful day, and we saw a remarkable number of absolutely spectacular hummingbirds.
If you look very carefully, you can see their tongues through the feeder there when they stick their tongues in to get the nectar. It's really quite something. The colors of the tanagers in Costa Rica are truly remarkable. There are just so many brilliant colored little birds. And of course, seeing them at the feeders was a real treat, but seeing them in the wild was great too. So you'll see probably more tanagers with brilliant colors than just about any other species of bird.
I watched this vivid tanager grab a moth and make a nice little breakfast out of it. He had quite some time with that big moth.
Here's one of our guides, Joaquin, who is obviously head and shoulders above most of us.
This is by far one of the most special birds that we saw on our trip. His feathers were quite remarkable. They looked green in one light and blue in another. At this point, we were on our way to the city, where we saw a couple of tropical screech owls in the middle of a downtown park.
The noisiest bird by far that we saw were these parrots and parakeets. The crimson-fronted parakeet was really putting on quite a show for us in the rafters of a church. We also saw him in many other places.
I was delighted to capture a picture showing the laser that we used to follow many of the birds to their locations.
Here's another one of the many brilliant tanagers, the scarlet rump tanager. Margot got lots of pictures, and look at this. He turned around and it looked like it was his front, and it's really his back. Beautiful bird.
Along with our tour guides, we met some wonderful people from all over, not just the United States, but the world. We had an Australian, several Canadians, people from the East Coast, the West Coast, and the South. It was very nice to get to know them all.
The meals that we had an awful lot of rice and beans, but that was okay. They were flavored very nicely. We also had some fantastic soups, really, really good soups just about every place we were, and of course also plantains all the time at every meal.
Our meals were quite large. We had breakfast, dinner, and dinner because what we were served at lunch was just as big as anything we had at dinner time.
What you're hearing are white-faced howler monkeys.
The collared arazari is really one of the magnificent toucans that we saw an awful lot of down in Costa Rica.
This was a wonderful adventure for us, but it was not a vacation. We were up birding by 6 in the morning, then we had breakfast, then we went back birding, then we had lunch, then we went back to birding, then we got together and talked about our birding, then we had dinner, then we went to bed and did it all over again the next day.
A lot of work, but it was wonderful to see so many of these exotic birds.
And we really were amazed at how the leaders found birds for us.
This particular bird they were very excited about. Only at a gas station in Costa Rica can you get your motor oil and pineapple in the same place.
Our guide was thrilled that the peak of the Arenal volcano was not covered with clouds on this day.
This is the Arenal volcano in Costa Rica. I'm just going to pan so you can see what some of the countryside looks like. There's a beautiful lake down here. I'm just walking around the balcony of the observatory.
This was the view from our room.
Here we have a few more of the most beautiful tanagers that Costa Rica offers. We've seen bright red, bright green, blue-gray, all of these different colors, and even some that have many different colors, like the golden hooded tanager. Just beautiful, beautiful birds.
These beautiful birds were as common as crows. Several times a day at the observatory lodge, the workers would put new food for the birds on this very interesting contraption. They filled it up, fed the little raccoon-like critters, and lifted it up so that the birds could have a feast. And the very first ones up there were the oropendulas.
Between the tanagers and the euphonias, there's just one beautiful bird after another. Wonderful colors, incredible combinations, and truly a delight to see.
Part of the beauty of this country were the many beautiful flowers. This hedge was built by our back window so we could see the hummingbirds all the time. Those two were two puffballs that we saw.
Not only did we see a lot of different hummingbirds from our bedroom windows, but we also had the opportunity to see this really interesting solitaire. We were the only ones who happened to see him on the whole tour.
And that's something that happened every now and then. Somebody from our tour would see a really fun or unique bird that the rest of us sadly missed. But we all saw so many beautiful birds that it really didn't matter.
Our guide Joaquin led us on, and at one point in time, we found not only some beautiful flowers, but also this vine snake. He was looking for vipers, but he only found this harmless little guy.
It was too windy to go up this tower on the day we were there. We didn't need any of these dire warnings before we would walk up to the top.
Our search for antbirds began while we were on the trail on the way to a waterfall, and we heard these birds, and they were in the brush, and they were really well hidden. We looked for about 45 minutes trying to find these birds. Then finally, on our way back, they were out in the open. Just beautiful little birds.
The ants were not eaten by these birds, they were just flushing up other insects that they were grabbing. This small flycatcher was sitting on a post on a rainy day, all puffed up. We were waiting to catch the bus to take us to our next destination.
Motmots got their name because it's sort of the sound that they make. They make slightly different sounds, and we saw two different kinds, one right after another. They have incredible tails and beautiful colors, as you can see. The broad-billed motmot, and then the slightly larger rufous motmot. It was a real treat to see them back to back like that. Our main guide, Paz, was truly amazing. She got us on the bird so quickly, and every sound she was able to identify.
Joaquim, Paz's assistant, was so fast getting his scope on birds instantly.
And our bus driver, Jorge, in addition to being an expert driver, found some birds for us.
The prong-billed barbet sounds like he's laughing at us.
Yet another incredibly colored tanager.
This little brush finch was hard to find and photograph.
This emerald toucanet was about 14 inches high and one of our favorite birds. Thanks very much for watching our adventure.
We hope you enjoyed it.